Okay, all right. So welcome everybody to our mini masterclass, and I'm going to take a moment here to just welcome you. Thank you for taking precious time out of your day for this. I am going to share my screen in a moment because I have undiagnosed ADHD, and I just love to have a little slide prompts with so I don't forget to say anything. But I will keep the camera on so you can see me talking. And please feel free to use the chat so that I can answer any of your questions as we go along. So I'm going to attempt this now. Bear with me. Woohoo. Okay. And then I'm going to go here to slideshow. All right. Can you all see? Okay. And I think, let's see if I can find the chat. Yay, I got the chat too. Okay, hopefully you can all see and this won't block off the screen. Okay. All right. Okay. So, interested to know why each of you are here, just quickly. Just you can unmute yourself and just like what struck you about this. I know some of you, and for those watching the replay, would love to hear your thoughts in an email too. But just what popped out at you?
Sure. I've just been doing work to really dive deeper into how not only I can be a more inclusive, conscious leader, but also then being able to learn these skills to pass them on in hopes of being able to build a team of fellow conscious, inclusive leaders.
Wonderful. Awesome. Sylvia?
Let me see here. Where am I? Oh, okay. Well, I like learning from you, for one. I always like learning what you have to say. But then also, I want to learn more skills and get more in depth with it, especially with doing work with high school girls on entrepreneurship.
Love
And
it.
then with this Women's Entrepreneurship Day conference that I'm doing at CU Denver. And November, and Priya, I'll tell you about that.
Oh,
But
cool.
knowing how to express to people about leadership when we're talking about it. I mean, be more expressive with it. I'm not doing being a speaker, but there'll be times that I will be talking to people throughout the day.
Yes. Awesome. Cool. Diana?
So, like Sylvia, I always love, I've known Rebecca for a number of years in a number of different stages in our careers. And I always love your perspective, leadership, whether it be of a team, of an organization, or of myself, is very, very important to me, especially as I am growing my community and things like that. So I'm happy to be here.
Great, 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 great. All right, well, we're gonna jump right in, and if anybody sees like a ping of somebody trying to enter, let me know, and I may have to stop sharing screen. But really, let's get started. So these are all incredible examples, totally appropriate, and why I got interested in conscious leadership is because I felt like there was a real dearth of we're in a time now where there seems like a dearth of really good leadership. And I feel like we here, everybody here, the women that I work with, the entrepreneurs, the executives, we all have such tremendous experience and knowledge, heart, soul. We care about the world. And our children are stressed out. If for those who don't have children, it's like kids and teens and young people are anxiety is on an all-time high, depression. So how can we lead better and at the same time manage our well-being and help everybody calm down, right? And the thing that I found is that, oops, didn't mean to stop share. Hang on. Bear with me. Try that again. Oop, I lost my screen here. There we go. There we go. Is that you can't expect to lead others powerfully until you lead yourself powerfully. And it sounds so obvious, but that's what I really want to help us unpack today, and give you some tips and tools to learn to trust and value and respect yourself, recognize and harness your internal power and wisdom. Diana and I talk about this a lot in some of her programs. And then really, consistently and genuinely and with compassion, manage yourself and take action, regular, consistent action, and allow yourself to, this is important, get some help from others and collaborate with others, understanding that we can't do everything ourselves. So I'm really hoping that just in this short time together, you'll be able to have some tips and tools to learn how to recognize and harness your wisdom, break through some invisible ceilings, which we'll talk about, that might be affecting your energy. You've all heard of leaking energy, which impacts your confidence. And learn how to shift from feeling constricted to feeling more curious and open. And actually learn when your nervous system is running the show. And all of this will help you rediscover your power and confidence and get better results, which is the point here. I'm going to be talking a lot about expanding your capacity. I've been having huge, interesting conversations about this with, with the folks in both my folks in my conscious leadership cohort, and also in, just with my clients and entrepreneurs that I work with. So that is something that I hope that you will be able to learn from this, is like, wow, I can actually, if I'm relaxed, I can actually expand my capacity and get better results. Okay. Sound good? Is this resonating? Yes, Sylvia. Yeah. Oh, can't hear you.
Notice when the nervous system is running the show. What do you mean by that?
I will get to that. So
Okay.
I'm going to put a pin in that, but I'm going to talk quite a bit about that in a little bit. Hi, Catherine. Welcome. So, so I said I'd share 3 secrets. And the first secret is that your unconscious intentions can block your growth. Okay. All right, so let me preface that by sharing why this is important, because if and when you can align your conscious and unconscious intentions, you create a much clearer vision and aligned energy. All right, and I'll get into that a lot more. But if you've ever felt like you've fallen short of your goals despite your best intentions and hard work, this might be why. All right. So how can unconscious intentions block your growth? Well, let's dig in. I'm going to, the first part of this is really understanding that you do have both unconscious and conscious intentions. Sorry, sometimes my words get tangled. So let me share a personal story that might help you understand what it is that I'm talking about. This is like a difficult concept to grasp. So about 20 years ago, I was part of, about 8 years ago, I was part of a startup. I joined a startup and I was in sales and business development. It was an athleisure and lingerie company. And I was incredibly successful at sales. I got all these awards. I had conviction about the product. I still wear the product today. I loved the team, and everything was going well, except I was really unsuccessful at recruiting new team members. And I couldn't figure out why. And then what I realized is that part of me did not want to recruit other team members because I didn't love their business model. It was similar to multi-level marketing, but I just felt that only a few people were really making good money, and I just felt uncomfortable trying to recruit people to the team. Okay, so okay, Priya had to drop. So the reason this was strange is that I had, so many of you may know that I had started a startup, internet retail startup about 20 years earlier, and I was able to recruit amazing team members, and we had great sales, and I was able to raise angel and venture capital funding because I was 100% committed to the vision. I wanted to create the world's first collaborative commerce website for museums. That's what it was. And this is an example of when looking back, I realized that my unconscious intentions were aligned with my conscious intentions. And in the other example, at the other company, my energy wasn't clean, it wasn't aligned. And I couldn't understand why I wasn't being successful, but basically it was this disconnect, this incongruence. All right. So I'm going to share an exercise with you guys. You ready? Yes. Okay. And I think, Catherine, you've done this before, so don't give it away. So what I'd like you to do is just take a scrap of paper. This doesn't have to be pretty, but and start by writing down a list of maybe 10 of your unconscious intentions, and then prioritize your top 3. And think of things in major areas of your life and work, maybe health, wealth, spiritual, relational, career, community. So think of all of these areas. Hi, Natalia. Welcome. Oops. Okay. I'm going to go back. Okay. Natalia, if you feel free to put on your camera, but you don't have to. We're just going through an exercise, and I'll just repeat what we're doing. I've asked everybody, hey there, oh, you're driving, so you don't need to write.
I'm driving, yes.
No worries.
I'm just gonna listen.
Okay, but just
Okay.
what I've asked everybody to do is to think about 10 unconscious intentions that we have in major areas of our life and work. Okay, so think health, wealth, spiritual, career. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give people 30 more seconds, and raise your hand if you're having any difficulty coming up with what your unconscious intentions are. Okay, 1, 2, 3, everybody. Natalia, you don't have to raise your hand. Okay, so I'm going to help you understand what your unconscious intentions are. Okay? What you have today is what you unconsciously want. You might want to write that down. So the life you're living today is what you unconsciously feel comfortable with. It's what you've chosen. And if there's something that you are looking to do, so maybe you've, verbally said, oh, I want to have 20K months, or I want to raise $8 million, or I want to have 200 people at my next program. Okay, those are what you consciously want. What you unconsciously want is actually what you have today. And the reason for that, and if there's only one takeaway that you take today, this one's super important. Your unconscious intentions are often much stronger than your conscious intentions, because those are the things that you unconsciously feel comfortable with, right? So that is often why one self-sabotages or procrastinates or feels imposter syndrome, because consciously you feel comfortable where you are right now. Okay? And what are the implications for your business and your life as a leader is that when you recognize this, you get to change it, because you can't change what you can't see, right? That's why we're unconscious of these things. And the people that are super successful that you wonder like, how the heck do they do that? They are just, their unconscious and conscious intentions are unified. There's no wobbling. They're like, okay, this is where I am today and this is where I'm going, and I'm not going to I've decided, right? And I love they love their vision and they are all for it. And that's what I did with museumshop.com. I didn't have experience. I'd never been a startup founder before. I'd never raised money before, but my vision was so strong that it was compelling. Does that resonate for everybody? Yeah? Okay. Thoughts? Comments?
Yeah, I have a thought because about a year ago, I revealed to I understood this unconscious intention, which was holding me back from really going where I think I could go with my business. And it was a result of my prior career taking over my life. So I unconsciously kept it smaller so it wouldn't take over my life. But this is where there's a nuance to this.
Yes.
I have a tendency to be overly driven to produce. And more recently, I did an event that took over my life. So it was like, oh my God, proof. I can't, I got to stay small. But, I think this is probably where your lead, but it is really interesting when you feel that dissonance between the two, right? And
Yeah.
you start to learn better ways for balance, right?
That's what this is all about, is addressing that dissonance and understanding why it's so hard to move to a next level. I'll get to that. So, yeah, this is huge. So the question to ask yourself after this, and Catherine, I think I answered your question. Like, if the intentions are unconscious, the question was, if the intentions are unconscious, how do we know what they are? It's because what you're doing right now is what you unconsciously want to do.
Okay. So
Okay.
I've started writing down what I have and what that might mean as an unconscious intention. And now I know what we're going to talk about tomorrow in our one-on-one.
Okay. Sounds good. Good. So
Yeah.
the question to ask yourself now is like, what are you saying you want to do, but not following through on because your energy isn't clear? This could be offering your services, showing up at speaking events. And this is like, it's not like you're doing anything bad. This is totally normal. All right. And really understanding and addressing that gap and that dissonance is key number one to powerful self-leadership and conscious leadership. So the real truth bomb here is, how you lead yourself when others aren't looking is how you lead others. Okay. Everything's connected. So we get to clean up, okay, well, in private, I'm doing X, Y, Z, but when I'm meeting with others, I look good, I'm put together or whatever. So like, how can we be more consistent in all aspects of our life and be ourselves, right? Okay. All right. So, all right, we already did this exercise, okay, and shared insights. So, whoop, let me go back a little. So the other thing I just wanted to mention, this is one of my favorite quotes, and I'll share it here, is, I love this from Tom Clear, is every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to be. So this is a way to help you start to to bring those two incongruent pieces together. And I'll give an example that's unrelated. It was in James Clear's book where he's trying to lose weight. And so instead of saying, oh, I got to go to the gym, he said, what would a healthy person do? Right? How would a healthy person act? And he did that, right? So, for me, it might be, how would an organized and disciplined person act? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take a step right now. All right? Okay. This is particularly apropos for any founders who have ADHD inclinations, because it's like you really have to be conscious about that. So, all right. Now, there are many other exercises that we do in our cohorts, but what I want to go next is to secret number 2. Everybody ready? Yes? Okay. All right. So the next secret is you can't lead effectively when you're living in a state of fear. Okay? If you're living in resistance or fear or contraction, you are closed off to opportunities. All right? So maybe sometimes you notice that your confidence wavers just when you need it most, or just when you're on the verge of doing something big, you know, something happens and you freak out. Okay. For me, it's technology. I always have technology failures right when I'm about to do a webinar. But so how do we deal with this? All right. Okay. How does this impact our leadership? Right. So I'm going to share a little story about what I call existential threat. And actually, Natalia and I were talking about this the other day. But last month, I was feeling it was in July. I had these couple days where I was feeling like just very low, and I was just freaked out about the election, about climate change, about violence in the world, my daughter's job hunting, my mom's end of life, and I fell into this catastrophic thinking mode, right? And then I remembered this conversation that went on when I was in another group. I take all sorts of coaching and master classes myself to help me, and I remembered a conversation that one of my coaches had during a group session, and there was a member in our group who was she couldn't move forward because she was so freaked out about just the world and how the world was, and she was stuck. She was miserable. She was disappointed with humanity and in a pit of despair, and she couldn't move forward. And our coach asked her, answer this question. How is ruminating about existential threats in the world serving you and your family and your business? Like, how is that helping anything? And she's like, well, it's making everything worse. And he's like, yeah, okay. So, and then he made the point that spending your time worrying about things you can't control really is no help whatsoever. So there's an exercise that I'm going to share with you that helps gain new perspective when you're in that kind of a slump, and then we'll discuss like your thoughts about that. Okay. Oop. Nope. Actually, before we go to that, I want to share a strange diagram, okay? And to discuss what is happening with your body when you're in a state of panic or fear, okay? Ready? All right. So there's this scientist, not scientist, he was a physician, a psychologist, and he did this incredible study. His name was David R. Hawkins, and he's founded something called the Omega Institute. And he discovered that our bodies vibrate, just like everything in the world vibrates, even rocks. And he did a study of figuring out how the body vibrates, the frequency our bodies vibrate at certain levels of emotional being, okay? And he called it the vibrational state of consciousness, all right? And this thing called the law of vibration, emotion is energy in motion. All energy vibrates at a certain frequency. We are all energy, right? We're made up of molecules, electrons, protons, and our hearts pump from the day we're born till the day we die. And what do we do when we need to revive someone whose heart has stopped? Oh, can't hear you.
Electric shock,
Yes.
CPR.
Yes. Okay. So this is really helpful to just kind of, intellectualize. And here's what he discovered. I'm going to try to point areas. So certain emotional levels. So you think of something and it puts you into your emotions are in shame. That is a very low vibration. I think this is megahertz. I've got to get the units of measurement. Guilt is a 30, apathy 50, and so on up. Anger is up there. It's 150 because anger can get you to move, right? Do things. Courage 200. Neutrality is 250. The highest is joy, peace, and enlightenment. No great shock here, but pun not intended. The point here, though, is to look at when you're in low vibration, you're operating in fear, and your body actually physically is contracted. Does that resonate? Can you kind of think of that in your body when you're like, okay. And then when you're in an expansive mode, your electrical vibration is higher. So just knowing this helps you become a more conscious leader, because what is happening is, we are attracting, you basically attract what you send out. So you can have good intentions, but if you're not really enjoying it, and if you're feeling fear about something you want to do, it's going to impact your energy and your being and your leadership. Does this make sense? Okay, so the law of attraction is you attract what you send out through the emotions and energy in your body. Okay, so now I'm going to show you another, I don't know, can you see this, or is chat in front of it? Can you see it, everybody? Or are we in front of it? Here, I'll move that there. Okay, so this is something I created even before I'd heard of Hawkins, and it was adapted from two coaches. You might have heard of Vishen Lakhiani, who wrote The Buddha and the Badass, and Christy Whitman, who's a master coach. And this just helped. The whole concept here is when you're contracting, you're in a state of lack, which equals low vibes. So you're probably in an emotional state where some of these emotions are going on. All right. This is why people say, you're acting from scarcity. All right. And if you are relaxed and expanded, your vibes are higher, and you're acting in more of a state of what they call abundance. Okay. The thing is, how do you change yourself? How do you move yourself out of a state of, fear, anxiety, stress into up here? Love, right? Joy. And what Christy and Vishen pointed out is that the way that you move up this vibrational scale is to get to neutrality or gratitude. That's why gratitude practices are so beneficial, and satisfaction. You can't just move from here to there instantaneously. You kind of move to, okay, to use some tools to get yourself to neutral. And we're going to be talking about that more when we get to the nervous system. Okay. Got it? All right. So how does this impact you? So here's a little exercise you can do. It's super simple. And it's just asking yourself 3 questions, and the acronym is SAC. I made that up, but okay. So the first question is, am I safe in this moment? So when you're feeling this fear, or your anxiety, or you're stressed, you're in a low vibration, am I safe? And so I look around my office and I'm like, oh my God, I have a roof over my head. I don't have to worry about food. We have a household income. I have electricity, have Wi-Fi, I have a job I love, I have great family. You know, I just think of all the things. It's like I am actually quite safe. The fear I'm feeling is self-induced. Okay. You know, maybe based on certain things, but I am safe right now. I'm not gonna end up on the street in the next 24 hours or probably ever. Okay. The next is, do I approve of myself? And I think, well, okay, yeah, I've done a lot of things I'm really proud of, and I'm doing what I want to be doing. And yeah, I haven't achieved all the milestones that I would like to achieve yet, but yeah, I'm pretty decent. I approve of myself, you know, all things considered. And then the third thing to ask yourself is, am I in control of what I can control? Okay. So, thoughts, comments.
Number one, I love SAC. That's really good. Um, it is, fear is one of those really powerful things that I believe gets introduced, or like safety, approval, and control. All of those lacks of that get so introduced relatively early in our lives. And it does take a while to recognize them and separate them. But
Mm,
it's a really great exercise when, because I think so much fear, whether in regard to our business, is irrational fear. But just knowing it and separating it and going like, oh, come on, you know, I love
well,
this.
and this part too, I love this. Am I in control of what I can control? Because that brings it down to like, okay, what 3 things can I do today? Right? Like, what can I do today that moves the needle? And we keep thinking, especially if we're more on the anxious side or have attentional deficit stuff, we tend to, and it's scientifically proven, we tend to want to do everything all at once. Kind of like that movie, everything, what was that? Everything, everywhere, all at once. Anyway, instead of picking one little piece, and that's one of the things that I work on with my clients is, okay, if you can do, you know, improve 1% a day, that's 365% in a year. Like, just tiny steps. Okay. All right. So this helps us with our leadership, because when we're leading ourselves in feeling safe, then we'll help others feel safe. And we lead down. I learned this in my first job. We lead down, like our people underneath us, our hires, our team, and we lead up. So whether it's our board, our investors, you know, our parents, and then we lead across with our partners. So there's all sorts of areas that if we feel confident in ourselves, we know that we're doing the best, you know, best we can, and we feel safe, we're going to be vibrating at a completely different level. Make sense? Cool. All right, I'm going to move on. So, ready for number 3? This gets to Sylvia's question. So, this is something that, you know, I did not learn in business school. Business school, everything I learned up until I started to become a coach was all about intellectual curiosity. And so the thing is, you know, if you find yourself procrastinating or not taking action on your most mission critical initiatives, why is that? Something is like overriding your intellectual interest in doing something, right? Because you want to do it. So what's happening? All right. So what's happening is that mindset is only part of the equation. Okay. And I mentioned procrastination, but also imposter syndrome, self-sabotage are perfect examples of how you can have the best mindset and meditation in the world and you still can't get shit done. Something else is going on, right? Okay. So you have to learn how to regulate your nervous system. And I've spent the last few years learning how to do that through various coaching programs. And everybody has a different take on it, but it is super important. And I'll give you 3 easy, I say easy, it's simple, but not easy to do all the time. But when you notice that you're starting to go into fear mode, you can learn how to observe that your body is going into this mode, feel it, right? It's akin to when you're doing a workout and you're reaching that point of what do they call that? The point of failure. You're like, oh, my muscles can't take it anymore. So you feel something in your body that feels uncomfortable, and you're like, oh, okay, I am not feeling safe right now, or I am feeling nervous. You catch it, and you learn how to release it. So that's something we work on in my coaching and with the conscious leadership cohort. Okay. And the reason your body is so powerful and your unconscious is so powerful is because you have a lifetime. And for those of us that are over 50 or over 40, you have a lifetime of programming that taught you these responses to various triggers, and whether they're circumstantial triggers or environmental triggers or verbal triggers, your body is trying to protect yourself. It is a natural and amazing thing that your body is doing, right? Contracting because you don't feel safe. We're hardwired to do that. So this is where we get to kind of notice and practice radical acceptance and self-compassion and move to some other form of energy. Okay. So this mind-body connection is super important, and that is what the David Hawkins, that scale of emotion, helps kind of give a visual to what's going on. So I'm going to give you a quick story that will kind of describe this in another way. I don't know if any of you have seen Inside Out or Inside Out 2, the cartoon. Yeah? Okay. So for those of you, Catherine, have you seen it?
Nope.
No. And Sylvia, have you seen it? Okay, so I'll describe very quickly. It's an animated film by Pixar, and it's all about the inside of this little girl, and the emotions are personified by these little cartoon people. And in the beginning, it's when she's a little girl, and they have like sadness and anger and happiness, joy. And then the Inside Out 2 is when she becomes, she goes through puberty. And it's actually really well done, but some new emotions are introduced, including anxiety. And what was the other? Oh, ennui. So there's this one scene where the girl she's a hockey player. She's made a really she has bad judgment and does something really mean during a hockey game. And her brain is depicted by this control room with each of these emotions trying to control the situation. And anxiety takes over the control room. And she's in this state, she's orange, her hair is electrified. And she's in a state of heightened stress. And she's orchestrating all of the control room workers to imagine every single possible disastrous scenario that could occur when the girl goes back into the hockey rink. And then Joy comes in and intervenes and takes over the control room. She blocks all those scenarios and replaces them with every possible positive scenario that could go on. And it's really a remarkable scene, because then you see the girl like, oh, wait, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And she goes back into the hockey rink, and she scores a goal and they win, blah, 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 which is, happy ever ending. But the analogy for us is we can spend a lot of time ruminating over all the worst possible scenarios, or we can spend the same amount of time and energy imagining the best possible scenarios. And the outcome, it doesn't even matter. Like the outcome's going to be the outcome. What better way to spend energy? So you have to train yourself to do that, because I certainly was not brought up that way. I was a problem solver. So looking for problems, right? So, pause for a second. And now I'm going to share a tool that you can use, because I promised you 3 tools and 3 secrets. So this is, I'm going to talk about something called triangulation and the drama triangle. Anybody heard of this before? Yeah. So the concept here, and you can just jot this down on a piece of paper and keep it handy. In any certain situation, when you find yourself like panicking or feeling tense and stressed, we all often have a tendency to become one of 3 players in the drama triangle. Either we're a villain, okay, so we're like telling people they need to change, we're judgmental, we blame people, we invalidate people, we're kind of feeling superior. We're a hero, so our tendency is to want to help, we feel guilty if we don't help, we avoid our own problems, we're a martyr, an enabler. Or we're a victim, and we're feeling like, oh, this happened to me, poor me, I don't have any power, you know, I feel guilty, I feel ashamed. And so this is just an opportunity to notice. Again, awareness is the biggest part of conscious leadership, is awareness. So when you're in a situation and all of a sudden it just feels icky, ask yourself, am I in the drama triangle? And what part am I playing and what part are other people playing? Does this resonate? Okay. So now the goal in this is to not be in any part of the triangle. It's to move to center. And so I'm going to quickly explain what that means. So the solution is to avoid drama and chaos, right? If we want to be a better conscious leader, we want to avoid drama and chaos. We want to move to the center, and we do this through self-awareness. I mentioned before this idea of catching yourself in one of these corners, releasing it, and then renegotiating. I think the most helpful thing to remember here is that if we refuse to be superior or inferior, you know, we're all at same levels. And this really helps when you're talking to a crowd, or you're talking to an investor or a potential client. You're not superior or inferior. Everybody is a unique individual. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, right? And if we're coming from that like, I know each of you is brilliant, and each of you has your own genius, right? And my role here is to enlighten and help you move to the next level. So if you find yourself in villain role, the solution is to become a challenger and just kind of express what you want, how you feel, and how you responded to something. Speak up if you don't like somebody's action. If you tend towards hero or rescuer, the solution is to become a coach. Be compassionate without trying to fix the other person. Learn to say no when it's appropriate, and relinquish your superior. It is kind of a superior status of being a helper, like, I will help you, right? And then victim, the solution is to become a creator and stop feeling sorry for yourself. Notice that you're kind of enjoying feeling sorry for yourself. Like you get kind of a kick out of it, all right, in a weird way. And accept the circumstances and ask how you can create a different scenario. Take action. Okay. So this tool is just super helpful. And the funny thing is, you know, I forget to use this, and it happens all the time. And it's like, oh, drama and chaos again. How can I be a co-creator and not go into that, right? Okay. So any thoughts, questions before we've about 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Okay. All right, so just to recap, oops, these didn't go in the right order. So the first secret that I shared is that your unconscious intentions, what you have today, can block your growth. The second is you can't lead effectively while you're living in a state of fear or existential threat. And the third is you can't outthink your body. All right.
What does
So
NSR stand for?
nervous system regulation.
Thank you.
So my goal is to really help you recognize and harness this internal wisdom of yours and break through invisible ceilings that can be affecting your confidence and your energy. And also help you consciously shift your MO from constricted to curious. And notice when your nervous system is ruling, right? When you're in contraction mode. And really learn how to shift your perspective to embrace and trust your natural wisdom, okay? So basically, for those who are watching the replay, and I know there are quite a few of you, I just wanted to encourage you that attaining these results takes a little bit of practice. Okay, this isn't something, you know, these 3 secrets and tools you now have in your tool belt. You can practice, invite you to practice these learnings on your own. You can read more books, attend workshops, you can hire a coach to help you. And I have my conscious leadership cohort coming up, which I know Catherine's going to be a part of. And the whole point of this 12-week program is to help you integrate these learnings into your life and your work and lead yourself better. And I am really interested in helping you increase your capacity while maintaining your energy and your well-being, okay? So you get the results you want, but without freaking out, okay? So the goal of this 12-week program is to lead yourself and your business more consciously and congruently, all right? And expand your capacity, lead yourself and others much more playfully. And how do we do this? The 3 pillars are building clarity, confidence, and consistency. So that's what the program is all about. And I'll just briefly go through it. The 4 modules that are included are clarifying your vision. And what we use something that I call, the 12-week year. Diane, I know that you've heard of this before, but we use this framework to help you really get crystal clear on your vision and reverse engineer it so that you know what your objectives are each week. The second module is all about managing your inner CEO, expanding your capacity, vanquishing self-sabotage. Module 3 is about building internal validation that works so you can actually raise your self-worth ceiling. So that's raising your confidence to this next level of consciousness that you want to get to. And then the 4th module is mastering your ask. So it's using that nervous system regulation to move from fear to fun, elevating your vibration. Okay. So this just shows you all the different things that we'll work on. And really to wrap up, embracing conscious leadership starts with accepting that you can't change what you can't see. So this is all about building awareness of what it is that you're doing that you can't see. And then you can help your colleagues with this as well. You can't expect others to trust you if you don't trust yourself. So it's all about trusting yourself. And my premise in this, as I mentioned, is each of you are brilliant already. You're leading, you're courageous, you're doing something that you've never done before. And you're really much stronger than you know. I find this in my workouts with my coaches, at the gym. I didn't think I could do those push-ups, but when she encourages me to do them, and I do them, And so that's what working in a group is so beautiful. That's why I love working in a group, because collectively we raise the tide. And when you understand these unconscious intentions, everything begins to shift, right? And once you align your unconscious and your conscious intentions, then you're much more energized and relaxed, okay? So this is the schedule. It's coming up in September, and I do have, for those of you who are watching the replay, I just want to quickly take 2 minutes. Oh, we will end on time. So there'll be a kickoff session, bi-weekly cohorts with live coaching, 1 private coaching session with me. I have a Slack channel where we keep everybody accountable to their goals and celebrate each other and have group discussions in between meetings, and a portal with all of the modules and videos and resources, a call vault in case you miss a Zoom call, and then complimentary passes to my Founders Test Kitchen. And I'm really excited about this, Diana. I also have discounted private coaching sessions for cohort members, and a photo shoot. Lisa Arnold is going to do a photo shoot, yes, for the cohort. And if any of you are interested in coming to that, please reach out to me separately. And so for those who are watching this mastermind, I'm so excited to offer a gift to you, which is the early bird. Early bird has ended. I'm interviewing people for the regular cohort, but over the next 48 hours that you can receive the early bird price. So this whole program is worth over $12,000, and the early bird price is $1,000 off the regular. So all you need to do is go onto this little bit.ly link, and which I don't know what, I obliterated it somehow. I'll put that in the chat, or you can reach out to me. I'll send you a follow-up email. I'm so proud to offer this to you because it's a fabulous group, and I hope that you become one of the 10. So, any questions on any of this? Woohoo! We're at time. But
That was great.
I just want to support you this fall, and regardless of what you decide to do, thank you so much for coming and listening to this and listening to the replay. And I welcome your individual questions. I know I'll be talking to each of you independently, and I'll send a follow-up email with a little link to hop on a quick 15-minute call if you'd like, and answer any questions that you have. So thank you again for your time and your attention. And yeah, any last comments before we sign off?
Just thank you. Thank you for the secrets and the tools. It's beautiful, beautiful way of, organizing thinking around this whole topic.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Oh, thanks for coming. All right. And Catherine,
Thank you,
I will
Rebecca.
see you.
And the repetition of these lessons really helps it sink in.
Yes, yes. That's one thing I discovered. I've been taking courses on a lot of this through master coaches, and it takes a while to sink in, because every time you hear some of these tools and look at them, it impacts you a different way, because you're in a different situation than you were a week ago, right? And there may be another thing that you can apply to it that wasn't even available to you before. So
Right.
well, great. Thank you all, and
Thank you.
take care. All right.
Dear,
Bye
have
now.
a beautiful day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.